Hello, Meoni here, and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV. Continuing our previews of gear sets from Stormblood, this time around I wanted to take a look at the Royal Volunteer sets. These, if you're unfamiliar, are from either the recent St. Mosian's Arboretum hard mode dungeon or from the Burn. Both dungeons share the same gear drops, so you can do either repeatedly to complete these sets. Now these took quite a while to collect, to put it mildly, so that's usually why it takes so long to piece these videos together, as I have limited time on my hands these days to spam dungeons. However, here then is the full sets for every role, starting with the tanks. These are all sadly not dyeable, so just to clear that up first, and obviously that might be a catch point for your interest in these items in general. The Royal Volunteer sets, as you might immediately notice, have a theme, and that theme is certainly a military one, so expect berets, long coats and uniforms aplenty. The tank set is a prime example of this, with the helmet gas mask there, which you get to see in many of the other sets. The chest piece is a little less armoured than other tank sets you might see in the game, with a lot of exposed cloth, looking more like a branch of police than a conventional tank, perhaps a member of a sort of riot police organisation if one were to exist in Eorzea. There's plenty of padding and a bajillion pockets to store all of the weird and crazy things that you would want to take on your journey, although I doubt I could get any of the contents of my inventory into such spaces, considering I still have half of my house furniture in tab 1 from a previous video. It's an okay set in general, but won't appeal to everyone considering the other dungeon sets from Stormblood, and this is definitely on the weaker end of those designs. Next up is the Ming Set. This is the Dragoon set, a completely different jump of appearance from that of the tank set then, and ultimately you might consider this a different theme altogether, but the Ming outfit certainly offers a unique look, reminding me of the Ralga's Reach style Girabanyan cloaks, but with a lot more extra padding and detail. This probably looks a little more bulky and more tank-like than the actual tanking set from this theme, and the helmet is this unusual spiked metal thing with a yellow front under the face grille, what appears to be respirator pipes on the chest with a red orb on either side. It's unusual to say the least. The gauntlets are metal and the boots are thigh high with plate metal. It's certainly a different part of that military theme. If the last set was policeman, this is certainly a sort of enforcer type outfit. Third on the list is striking. Monks and samurai then get this very different looking outfit, complete with large exposed hood and cotton mixed with leather coat extending down from the top to the knees. It's certainly a different look from what you would expect for samurai and monks, and we have detail on the hooded helm there with that yellow decorated bandana type thing on the top of the forehead and the leather collar around the neck. And then there's a plethora of pockets abound on the actual chest. Leather tassels on the arm and these unusual shaped tools across poking out of pockets. This set makes for a very unique design. If we go back to the military theme idea, I'm not sure where this one fits in. You also have to take into consideration that this is the only one that doesn't seem to have a mask or a respirator so far, so presumably these people are either less fortunate in a gas-filled environment by design and are thus less important to whomever issues them, or wearers of this outfit are nowhere near the battlefield where presumably there is a gas leak. But in general, this outfit is quite interesting. I personally like the hood and the boots are pretty good, but it's not the best monk or samurai outfit that we've seen in Stormblood by any margin. Okay, so here's the aiming set. This, much like the Ming set, shares much of the main components aside from boots and helm, which all have this new sort of bronze detailing effect on them, and notably a few other differences to the buckles and bags. The helm is definitely a centre point of this set with its bronze circlet type thing with two yellow lenses over the left eye of your character. These make you look a little like a sniper. If I was to guess, that's pretty much where this set's military theme is going with its design. Perhaps they act like a form of night vision thermals or a sort of scope of sorts. and the same yellow colour is on the chest, but this time only on the left side, unlike on the Ming Set that covered both sides. It's an interesting outfit, probably one of the more interesting from this list due to its unique helm, although for the preview I had to switch to this hairstyle, as even some of the other shorter hairs in the game would clip through the bronze at a weird angle, or even clip through the actual lenses. Scouting is up next with another jump in design direction. This time we have a return of the gas mask, only this one is much larger and way more imposing with its red glazed eyes and foreboding black mask. The long coat and pointed hood are back, along with many of the other details recycled from the other sets, but the combat green colour really helps it look more like a special forces unit. The gas mask itself is awesome. If we could one day see a return of just this mask without the hood, then you could really make a quite convincing Psycho Mantis cosplay from Metal Gear Solid. The beige detailing on these straps and some of the bags pop out amongst the green, and the whole thing looks much more uniform than some of the other sets in this list. I think this is my favourite one personally if I had to choose, mainly because of that mask and the way the pieces fit together. You look menacing, like you're from World War II in the trenches or something. Next up is healing. This set is very different for a healer set, so to the people who complain about long robes and skirts, pretty much here is your set, as none of either are present. Does it immediately look like a healer outfit? I guess it slightly looks a little bit like a field medic or something like that, but the colour choice of the outfit makes it feel as though you're carrying sort of explosives in those red pouches rather than healing items. To me this really does feel like a sapper or a demolitions expert. The beret is different, and I quite like the green orb thing in the rim of it. The chest is very uniform-like, especially in the colours they've chose, and the boots complete the set entirely. I'm unsure what to think about it, to be honest with you. I both like and dislike this set at the same time. It's a cool idea in general, and at least it can't really be compared to many of the other dungeon sets other than perhaps Scala's, which also felt like a slight military connection within. And finally, the casting set. Casting usually takes the crown when it comes to dungeon sets, I've noticed, or at least in my opinion, and I have to say there's a lot I like about this one too. Firstly, the half mask at the top there in silver looks awesome. You could use this for all manner of futuristic looking sets, and I like a lot of the masks in these sets today, but this one in particular is really cool. The colour choice in general is refreshing and interesting. My favourite detail of this outfit has to be the gown wrapped around the waist of the character, tied with its arms at the front, almost making a skirt with the unused coat, which is an awesome idea. I want this to be done so much more in the game. It reminds me of how everyone used to have their coats at the end of a long summer's day wrapped around their waist whilst outside on the school playing fields waiting for the bus. I hope they use this idea more often, and hopefully we see this with sort of sweaters and things we already have in the game. It would be a really easy way of recycling sets we already have with very little effort into new outfits. In fact, there's not a great deal that shouts caster when you look at this. Quite an interesting thing. You don't always want sets to look too similar, and it's quite easy to just replicate 90 robes in a row and various outfits with long skirts. And don't get me wrong, I personally love it when they make long flowing robes, as long as they're different from each other, but to have something different for a change really is quite welcome. In conclusion, that's the full Royal Volunteer sets. You can get these, like I say, by piecing drops together in both St. Mossian's Arboretum hard mode or the Burn dungeons in Stormblood. Hopefully these previews opened your eyes to new ideas for glamour combinations. Let me know which is your favourite in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.